From conception, there has been significant interest in considering additional rewards for successfully locating and killing your bounty hunter targets. Well done, guys. It doesn't end there though, we still have to talk about a lot of things here. There's a new devlog out on the bounty hunter rewards. Here's their idea, guys. I'll explain this before I share my opinions and critiques on it. So basically, when you kill a target, you'll get emblems. Emblems are small icons that are sometimes dropped by your target when you successfully score a kill. They are tradable and can be exchanged at a new PvP store for points. They have a set point value and cannot be exchanged anywhere else. So the main question at hand here is, what should that PvP store offer in return for your emblems? Here's my opinion on it. Things like supplies, sharks, prayer pots, that's obviously going to devaluate them. It's going to be just like another Nightmare Zone store. A great example for this would be Pure Essence. Just take a look at the price of Pure Essence and think, where does the majority of Pure Essence come from? Most likely bots that mine the Pure Essence, and dudes that do Nightmare Zone and exchange their points for the Essence. So supplies, no. That should not be offered in the PvP store at all. Now, I've been reading a lot of your guys' replies on the forum post itself and on my bounty hunter video in the comments section. Thank you for all your feedback, by the way. I think a great thing to add into the store would be the PvP items. This includes Vestas, Stadius Morgans, and Zuriels. The main setback here is we don't want to add in something that completely devaluates other aspects of the game, like PVMing. And I can assure you, adding these in don't. They're degradable items. They'll be used in a PK setting, strictly for a PK setting. I mean, if the exchange here is right and these items have value, sure, a PVMer that's extremely rich can go out and buy some Vestas, but just think about it. If he uses that at Bandos, how long is it going to last? It degrades. Pretty sure it lasted an hour. It's been a long time. Now, the armors would obviously be more of a big ticket item, but you gotta remember, we had Morgan Javelins, Morgan Hatchets, I think they're hatchets, and Rangers love those things. I love seeing clips from you guys. I love seeing dudes out there PKing with them. I know you Rangers had fun with those weapons. With that said, Brawlers could even be a possibility. A lot of people do not like Brawlers because they think that it's making the game easier. By no means do we have to add in Brawlers to be as common as they once were back in Bounty Hunter and PvP days. Personally, I probably wouldn't spend my points on Brawlers, but if I did get it as a bonus drop off of a target, then sure, maybe I'd use it out in the wilderness. I was always a PKer. Check out how many Brawlers I used to have, guys. I still have them. Well over 150. Believe it or not, this pushed me to do skilling. Now, whether or not that was because EP was there and it just gave me something to do while gaining EP, it's hard to say, guys, but if I may say so myself, I did enjoy mining out at the mining pits. I did enjoy fishing out of the eastern hemispheres, and while doing that, it all went towards the people that I was about to PK, and I wanted to get good loots for you guys, so that required EP. It wasn't like I was just killing people on 0 EP and getting my salmon drops. I needed EP to get some decent loots. Now, there is another major point that I wanted to talk about during this video. Let's put all the stuff that I just talked about aside and focus on this. I was lucky enough to get to sit down and talk to Dan, or Modreach, one of the old school team members, actually the head of this update. He's the dude that wrote the devlog. Back in the initial vote stages, the Bounty Hunter Crater system was voted for, so Dan is thinking about implementing a target system that's almost instantaneous for the wilderness. So let's flash back to BH craters. Basically, as soon as you walked in that crater, you would be assigned a target. It's the same scenario here. He wants to update it into the wilderness, so you go out there and you instantaneously get a target. And I asked him, so say if you kill this target, how long till the next target? He said it could be within 10 seconds. I personally don't think this is going to work for the wilderness. If it's that common, the rewards for the targets aren't going to be that good. And if they're not that good, people will lose interest. The hype will be there on release, but it will die off. This is endgame content. When people max out their stats and have nothing left to do, what are they going to go for? Probably 200 mil XP. But if you're like me, you'll PK forever as long as there's people to kill. Now, I proposed this idea to Dan, and now let me propose it to you guys. I know not all of you guys played back in the BH days, BH World days, but basically, you had a circle that was based on a timer, and by the time you hit 3/4 of that circle, you had a chance of getting a target. My idea to be eligible for a target would be to risk a certain amount in the wilderness for a given amount of time. If you're not risking, you simply won't get any progression towards that target. I just remember how well the Pking days worked. People would be hiding in places you would never expect, guys. The corners of the wilderness. What is your best hiding spot? Throw it at us and see if a hunter will come and find you. Most likely they will, because they're after your risk. It's a circle of life. It'll work. The rewards of that target has to be done right if people are going to be willing to risk towards that target, though. So there's a few things that we got to get right here. It's really got to be enough to keep people involved. Another thing I should mention about BH Craters. It was pretty small, guys. It's nowhere near as big as the wilderness. And when you would kill your target, you would not get a penalty. So as soon as you kill him, you could pick up the stuff and leave the crater. People are always asking me on my BH vids, Tim, why do you leave after you get a kill? That's because it was a rogue kill. Anyone else that's not my target would be considered a rogue kill, and you'd have to wait that 180 seconds. You have to tank it out until you could leave. That was the main incentive for killing your target in BH Craters, and I guess along with the 12k, every 10 targets, you'd be able to trade it in at Mandrith and get a little cash reward, which wasn't that much, but I guess it did add up a little bit. It wasn't the main focus for people going out there and killing their targets. It was just to evade that penalty. Another thing to mention, it does not look like there will be a teleportation to your target added in. So that's something that was in BH Craters, a place that was much smaller, but now we're looking at the entire wild. So keep that in mind, guys. That actually just triggered another idea for the shops. Maybe a certain amount of the emblem could buy you a teleportation to your target. The arrow's great. It helps you find where that person is, but that person can be very nomadic and they can be a douche very easily. If they don't want you to get your target kill, they can make damn sure that that will not happen. By the way, Dan, if you're watching this, love the idea for the double kill and triple kills. 10 seconds is definitely not long enough though, man. I was sitting out at Mage Bank with 20 HP on full Derek, and I couldn't even take out the peers that were level 70 that fast. So it's a cool idea, but we're just gonna need some more time. On that note, I would love to see a reintroduction of the bounty hunter high scores for old school. Believe it or not, it was just a small little thing to keep note of. I personally I loved seeing myself gain ranks. It was something to go for. I mean, the kill counter is one thing in Runescape, but it doesn't really mean anything. When the bounty hunter comes out and you kill a target, it'll mean something. I hope it does. It should. It will. If any of you guys remember when declaws were released, they were actually released in BH Craters, and the price on these things were 250k to 500k. This was when free trade was not available, so people were going freaky to get their hands on these declaws. And as you could imagine, the price skyrocketed. They were not that value for long at all. Which brings me to this next point. This could be a huge, massive ticket item in that PvP store. As much as I'd love to see the original Dragon Claws come back into the game, it doesn't necessarily have to be the special that's nerfed. If anything, the accuracy and the max hit could be looked at. Keep in mind though, guys, we've already added in AGS. That max hit is already there, and AGS was released as it was. You get that 50% spec. So if you want a back-to-back spec, you can do that. I look at it from a variety standpoint. It adds in variation to the game. Believe it or not, AGS and declaws are very similar weapons. Whenever I would go out into the wild, that's what PKers would choose if they're direct PKing. If they weren't doing a +1 on their cape, they would have declaws or AGS. Now, in a way, AGS was more OP than declaws. If I was to give my honest opinion, people could drink a prayer pot, switch into the AGS, bam, headshot, 600, 700, one shot kill ya. But with declaws, it's got a split down, so as soon as someone pulls out their declaws, the other guy has time to really eat before the full damage comes through because it's splitting down. While on the topic of Derek, I wanted to bring up this point as well. You guys remember when PID was updated, right? It was to deter all of the people that were abusing it in the duel arena. It actually stopped it completely because it randomized how your hits are going to exchange. This update had a pretty negative effect on Derek Pking and Pking in general. It adds in more luck factor. So I still think of it as it was before the update. If I think that my hit's going to come in first, and then randomly the other dude gets his hit in first, that's PID taking place. That's the update that they've incorporated into the game. I strongly believe this should be removed from Pking. It should be left in the duel arena. It's fine there. But when it comes to a PK setting, it's a no-no. I know this discussion is way past due, But as they say, it's never too late to be too late. They say that all the time, don't judge. That's all I got for you guys today. Please do critique down below and let me know what you think of what I spoke about today. As always, your support means the world, guys. I will not be giving up on you guys anytime soon. My passion still runs strong in this game. We're in this together as a community, and we're staying strong with what we have left, guys.